Hello, friends. First of all, welcome of all of you in this video lecture series of 11th Commerce Sectoral Practice. Before starting this lecture, I just revised what we studied in previous video lectures. We studied various forms of business organization. First lesson, that's the secretary, and now start second lesson, features of joint stock company. We completed 6 features. So the next feature, that is limited liability. First of all, what is meant by liability? Liability, that is ability to pay. Ability to pay debts, loans. The liability of shareholder of joint stock company is limited. The liability of shareholder of joint stock company is limited. Then how the liability is limited? The liability is limited up to the unpaid part of the face value of share held by shareholder. Unpaid part of face value of share held by a shareholder. Unpaid part of the face value of share held by shareholder. What is meant by face value and what is meant by unpaid part of face value? Face value means the value which is written on the memorandum of association of the company and share certificate of the company, known as face value. And what is meant by memorandum of association? Memorandum of association means like constitution. All rules the framework of the company, the scope of business activities of the company is given in the memorandum of association of the company. This is the supreme document which require for the company to be prepared at the time of its registration. So unpaid part, if Mr. X subscribe or buy a share in Alpha Limited company of rupees 100, but out of which he pays to company at the time of application money and at the time of call money rupees 80, but face value is rupees 100 and he pays rupees 80. So his liability is to pay unpaid value of its face value of share, it is rupees 20 only, his liability. So shareholder is liable to pay only the unpaid amount on his shares. Personal property of the company is not used for the repayment of debts of a company. For a repayment of debts of a company, because the liability of shareholder is limited In case of joint stock company, that is limited up to unpaid value of its shares. Next, separation of ownership and management. Owners are separate from management. Then how it is possible? That is, ownership is different from management. But it is possible in case of joint stock company, because shareholder are the real owner and controller of the company, but management is in the hands of professionals like heads of different departments. Shareholders are large in number, they are scattered, they keep changing because shares are transferable. Shareholders are large in number. One of the advantage of joint stock company is large membership, huge membership. There is no restrictions for maximum number of members in joint stock company. So even illiterate person also can buy a shares in the company and get a right of ownership in the company. So it is not possible for the single shareholder to handle the management of the company on his own ways. So they elect their representatives known as board of directors. Known as board of directors. So these board of directors, along with the different departmental heads, that is production manager, sales manager, marketing manager, research and development manager, advertisement manager, recruitment manager, along with the company secretary, these all qualified persons with the guidance, under the guidance of board of directors, they manage the affairs of the company. Next feature, that is transferability of shares. Transferability of shares. The shares of public company, the shares of public company are freely transferable. Then what is meant by public company and what is meant by private company? This is the question. What is meant by private company and what is meant by public company? This is the question. So public company means as per section 271 of Companies Act 2013, public company means the company has no restrictions on the transfer of its shares. Has no restrictions on the transfer of its shares. Minimum number of members should be 7. Has to have a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed by articles. Then what is by articles? Articles of association is also one of the document like memorandum of association. Articles of association contains the rules and regulations for the internal management of the company. So, and does not prohibit, that is, these company, that is public company, does not make any prohibition limitation regarding invitation or acceptance of deposit from public. That is the public company. What is by private company? Restrictions to transfer shares. Number of members up to 200. This is the private company and public company. A share can sell, a shareholder can sell its shares as and when he desires, because the membership is open to all. That is voluntary membership. This is the first feature of joint stock company. Membership of member, that is shareholder, comes to end when the shares are sold. Shares of private company are not freely transferable. Shares of private company are not freely transferable because there is restrictions on transferability of shares. What is by transfer of shares? Transfer of shares means transferring the ownership right of shares by giving shares as a gift or selling the shares to another person. That is transfer of shares. Next, number of members. A private company must have minimum 2 member, maximum 200 member, and a public company must have minimum 7 member. There is no limit for maximum number of members. That is number of members. Next feature, that is capital. A joint stock company can raise huge capital, large amount of capital, because number of members are also large and the face value of shares may be even rupees 1. That is so huge amount of capital is collected from large number of members in the form of share, debenture, deposits, bonds. These are the instrument of collecting capital. Then what is meant by capital? Capital means the money invested by business owner in the business, that is the capital. So who are the investors in case of joint stock company? Shareholders are the owners of joint stock company. So capital is collected in the form of shares. Debentures is the one of the instrument of raising debt capital or loan capital. Bond is also one of the instrument of raising debt capital or loan capital. Deposits, like a bank deposits, is also one of the source of raising short-term capital as a debt or loan capital. So joint stock company can collect huge amount of capital from large number of members through different sources because its requirement is also large. That is, requirement of capital is also large. Requirement of capital is also large. Next, government control. As per Companies Act 2013, the company business must be registered. Without registration, company business cannot start. So, company business, that is government, work under government control and supervision. Registration in corporation, it's compulsory for all companies. A registered company must follow the regulations given in company law. A company has to file a copy of statement of profit and loss, balance sheet. Then what is by profit and loss and balance sheet? Balance sheet means the annual statement, annual financial statements, which shows liabilities and assets of the company at a particular date, generally at the end of year. at the end of financial year. Financial year starts on 1st April and ends on 31st March in India. And other financial statements and maintain proper books of accounts and other books as per Companies Act 2013. And if any company fails to submit the books to the registrar of companies or any government officer which is appointed by Minister of Corporate Affairs, who regulates the company business in India through its mechanism, so company business is totally controlled. Company business is totally controlled by government in India. Here we completed features of joint stock company. After watching this video, those who don't write the features, write all features of joint stock company and send it to me as early as possible. Thanks for watching.